I don't mind buying. Got a scar on my arm when the time got hard. I need a good woman in a rich man's yard. In a yard by the side of the road, by the side of the road. I left it laying on the side of the road. Got a heavy load, a heavy load. And I left it laying on the side of the road, by the side of the road, the side of the road. Left it laying on the side of the road. Got a heavy load, a heavy load. And I left it laying on the side of the road.
Danny, you've got this thing going on, music, that you've had going on for a long time, but now you kind of have defined it, or maybe put a moniker to it, folktronics.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. Where you going with it? Where did you come from? What are you trying to do with that?
Well, it came from, one of my friends is in that band Led Zeppelin, my friend John Paul Jones, and I was at his house a few years ago, and he was showing me these kind of vintage synthesizers from back in the day. And they had, it's like, if you look at those old ones, they had these series of sound modules that were in a series wired up, and the one on the left side was always an oscillator, and it was just like the pure tone generator. And then you'd have all these different little effects on there that you would use to manipulate the sound and create all these various sounds that these synthesizers were able to make. But they started with just like a pure tone, like a tone generator type idea. And so I got to looking at it, and we were talking about what if you use the banjo as a tone generator? What if you use the banjo for that?
Yeah.
And so I started messing with like pedals and things like that, just figuring out how to manipulate the banjo, how to pitch it up and down. And
because banjo's all about tone.
Yeah, it's, and actually timbrally, it's a lot like the harpsichord.
Mm-hmm.
It has, the range is kind of like the oboe, and there's like I grew up kind of looking at the banjo almost as like a second-class instrument, but the more I like say.
Well, with as many banjo jokes that are out there, I can understand the reason why, man.
It's a little, you get a complex, but like I noticed from writing for orchestra and for string quartet and things like that, like every instrument has limitations and things, and there's like certain things that it won't do and it can't do and it wants to do and stuff, and so you sort of look at everything sort of mechanically, like the viola has its own clef, and there's certain notes on certain instruments that are always a little out of whack, and there's just certain things that, like, you try not to put the flute and the oboe in unison, and different things, everything's got, like, a little something you kind of got to deal with based on the mechanics of how the instrument is built. So I started thinking, what if you looked at the banjo like that, just like as a set of parameters, and it makes a certain kind of a tone, and then what can you do with that, sort of harmonically and stuff? And so I started looking at it in that way, and it's just, and there's a lot of, like, one thing that's really awesome about being in music right now is there's, like, a ton of really great gear that's inexpensive, and there's just so much cool gear and pedals
and recording
software.
Gear too, software.
Unbelievable. A lot of it's free. You can download a lot of stuff. It's like open source, and it's just amazing. I mean, it's so great. This is like the best time ever to be in music.
Access.
Totally. And so anyway, I just started kind of messing with that, and then I like when I was in recording school, those kind of like guys that would like make movies with sounds, Walter Lippmann and those guys that would make those kind of movies with, like, you'd go to a movie and then it would just be sounds, but he would like take you on a bus and go to a different part of town and go to a bar and somebody would say this and that, and he had these little things worked out, and I just through like getting interested in sample-based music. There's a lot of music. I'm sure there's like shows that y'all have here where they play a lot of stuff that's kind of like sample-based.
Huge
awesome
scene.
Stuff.
Yeah, huge scene.
And it's just so cool. Like, samples are so cool to work with that. And I just wanted to, say, use the banjo and just like Bill Monroe kind of harmony and things like that in that type of context, to sort of make it like a contemporary thing. And the cool thing about, I call it like a bricolage technique, where you're using what you have at hand, and then you're also letting the process kind of guide you.
Yeah.
So I figured out a few years ago, my job is to make ideas. So I just make ideas, and so I just started messing with the banjo and using pedals and things and looping things. But what I'm working with now, and there's a bunch of videos of it on my site and things like that, is just a laptop in this program called Ableton, which is a music-based software that uses loops and samples and things that you can manipulate stuff in real time. And so that's, when I play my shows, typically what I do is I just play the banjo with a laptop, and I'm able to like loop my banjo and pitch it up and down and make all these kind of orchestral things happen, and have a lot of pre-recorded atmospheric sounds and things, and bombs going off and ships going by and dogs barking and all that. You know?
So if somebody put a sample from Dust on the Bible on a song, hip-hop song, whatever, you'd be into that, right?
I think it'd be awesome, yeah.
Is that available anywhere anymore other than somebody maybe making a dub of the cassette I have?
I think it is available. It came out on CD, and I believe it is available. I do actually
that's a
believe it's
great
available.
record.
You know, I
What-
did that on a 4-track. I
I
did that the
believe
whole
I
thing on a
remember.
4-track. And, you
1991?
know, man, those 4-tracks sounded great. Did you ever get into that very first Latin Playboys record?
Oh, yeah. What
that,
a great.
The
yeah.
4-track is so cool because it had this thing, this noise reduction thing on there. It was called DBX. It was like this kind of weird noise reduction thing. It was like a compression expansion thing. It was like for noise reduction, but it did this really weird thing with the bass. It really pumped the bass.
Yeah.
So the low end on those things is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then they have that wow and flutter where you can hear the thing speed up and slow down, kind of. It's really cool. I mean, those things are pretty neat. They're noisy, but they're kind of hip, you know.
That was a great record, by the way. But did it? You know, this was Bad Livers, by the way, folks.
That was our
those
first thing.
keeping
That was our
score
first
at home.
release that we
right.
did, you know?
What is that like when this kind of punk bluegrass band puts out basically
A gospel
religious
record,
or gospel record?
You know, we were masters of always doing the wrong thing at the wrong time or the right thing at the wrong, whatever, however you say that. We just had it. We were like inner-directed, I guess. We just had our own thing that we were doing, and I don't know. I don't really know. It was strange, but that was one of our better-selling records and stuff, and I didn't know.
Oh, I remember every time we brought you to town, that was usually one of the first questions I get. Do you think they got any copies of Dust on the Bible with them?
You know, that was, and what was really cool about that was a lot of people that maybe not really into bluegrass and maybe not into gospel so much really liked that record.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit again. Danny Barnes live in studio, 90.3 The Rock and on UTTV The Rock Unplugged. Going to wrap some things up here, but tell us what's going on. What are you headed to Nashville for? What are you going to be doing the next couple months? What's Danny Barnes got on the
Just
plate?
a lot of touring. That record just came out. It came out on iTunes in October, but the hard copy just came out in January. And what I'm doing is just playing a lot of shows. I'm touring with a lot of bands and doing a lot of gigs and just traveling really hard and working hard. I'm just trying to do stuff like this and just tell people about this record. Like I'm not you can stream it for free off the site. You can just go listen to it all you want. We just really believe in this record and we're excited about it. And we're just telling people about it. And we just want people to have a copy of it and to listen to it. And I'm really trying to brighten people's day a little bit, you know, because like if you read the paper, and you know, you watch news and stuff like that, it seems like we're kind of living in kind of a bum time. It's kind of bummer time, but I suspect that it's actually pretty cool. And I'm like a very positive person. I'm really excited about the world. I'm excited about the potentials, and I think things are getting better and better. And I'm really excited about music and just everything. And I think we're a work in progress. And I think we're getting better. And I'm excited about the future. And I just wanted to brighten people's day with this music and stuff and make them think a little bit and just make them feel good. So that's why I'm out here telling them about it.
If anything can do that, music can do it, and if anybody can do it, Danny Barnes can do it, man. It's great stuff. It's called Pizza Box. It's on ATO Records from Mr. Danny Barnes, our guest in studio here on 90.3 The Rock. You're going to be playing down in Nashville? You got a gig down there?
Yeah, I got a gig at a place called Matt's.
All right, cool.
And all the
Matt's.
information's on my site, yeah. And I'm going to play there Thursday, and then Friday I'm going to go out to Memphis and hang out the Focal Alliance. Then I go home for a few days, and I go down to Portland, and then I go home for a few days, and then I go out to the Northeast to do a tour with Mike Gordon, and then I go do a tour with Jeff Austin, and then I go to South by Southwest, and I go somewhere after that, and I can't remember.
And the neighbors are still scratching their heads.
Yeah, you know, so I'll tell you something funny is I practice a lot, and I take lessons and stuff. I've been at the banjo 38 years. I'll tell you a quick story. My neighbor works at the mill, you know, and he's a real nice guy and stuff. And I was talking to him one day, and he goes, he still can't figure out what it is because I'm not on TV, and I'm not on, you know, he just
Not on
doesn't really
his
know
TV.
what I'm doing, you
Yeah.
know. And so he said one day he got up to go to the mill, and he works at I think it's a 10-hour day, and he said he passed by my window where I practiced, and I was playing like this little lick on the banjo, and he walks by and he gets in his truck and then drives off to work, and he says he worked all day. He came home and parked his truck and got out and walked by the window again, and I'm playing the exact same lick that.
It's Groundhog Day for the dude, huh?
At that moment, he realized that I was like kind of weird, you know.
Oh, Danny Barnes in the studio, live on 90.3 The Rock and UTTV The Rock Unplugged. Can we get one more out of you before you get
Sure,
out of here,
man.
brother? What you gonna do?
Happy to do one. Let's see. I think what I'd like to do is play the title track, Pizza Box. about how the years go by and a life so fast. Looks like it'll never last. The days are rolling on past. Think about how I loved you so, wishing you were mine. I wished it all the time. I had a love so blind. Basically, it's elemental. Southern boys are sentimental. Pizza box, a baling wire, and a ball of twine. At the scene of the crime, where we had a good time. Punk rock man, a mojo hand, had a case of beer. I had a terrible fear I wouldn't find you here. Basically, it's elemental. Southern boys are sentimental. Well, I don't do dope, I don't drink wine, but I likes to play. I pick the banjo all day, a little cheaper that way. Girl, I missed the way you kissed, I missed the smell of your hair. Well, it hurt so much whenever you wasn't there. Darling, you caught me when I'm only singing because I'm feeling lonely. Well, the Bible said a man shall reap what he did sow, but you never know how it's gonna go. Krishna said you better off dead if you don't detach. But when it come unlatched, it didn't feel so good. Basically, it's elemental. I was born sentimental. Well, you came around from way uptown, said I was your friend. Till the very end, it didn't work that way.
Thanks for making our job easier here by being able to play this cool music, man. Great job. And anytime you come to town, the door's open, the mic's on. We'd love to have you in, man.
I appreciate you, Billy. Thanks, man.
Very cool. Danny Barnes on at 90.3 The Rock. Why don't we go back in time and hear those bad livers?